It's Halloween 4, Return of Michael Myers. That's Danny. I'm
Hi.
Lance. What?
Hi.
I think you said 5. And we're not talking about 5.
No. It's 4.
Halloween
And I
4.
say hi.
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 All right, Danny, give us the pumpkin spice latte version of Halloween 4.
Halloween 4, the 4th installment of the Halloween franchise, aptly titled Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. We have had an installment, part 3, without Michael Myers. The studio has said, come back, Michael.
Come
you
back.
are our bread and butter.
Yep,
so,
absolutely.
the story picks up on a post-Laurie Strode world where her now orphaned and adopted daughter, Jamie Lloyd, played by the wonderful Danielle Harris, has been so that is Jamie Lee Curtis's Laurie Strode's character. Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis's character's daughter. But in the lore, Jamie Lee Curtis has Laurie Strode has died.
Laurie Strode, yes.
Laurie Strode has died, and
in a fatal car accident.
Yeah, and Jamie Lloyd has been adopted by the Lloyds. So now it picks up in an insane asylum where Michael Myers has been under heavy sedation. Head is wrapped because the last time we saw him, he was burning to a crisp. And now he is being transferred from one sanitarium to another, all the while nobody has told Dr. Loomis. While he's being transferred, they let slip that he has a niece. He is then activated, escapes, kills everyone, and it is now the hunt for Jamie Lloyd by Michael Myers. And her protector is to be a Sheriff Meeker and a returning Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis in a scarred version, a little bit more kooky. So this is a return to Haddonfield, a return to Michael Myers, and a return to what we all fell in love with to begin with.
That's right. This is going to be another love fest for us because we both love this film. It's so nice to have Michael back, but we're getting a great version of Michael. I said on 2 shows ago, Halloween 2, my favorite. Halloween 4, which is one of our favorites, does not happen without Halloween 2. So, Danny, tell me a little bit more about Halloween 4. What do you like?
Well, you see, Lance,
I'm still defending Halloween 2 till the day I die.
You can, and it's fine because I love Halloween 2 as well, but Halloween 4 is one of my favorite installments in the movie franchise that is Halloween, but especially because of what it meant to a young Danny Gonzalez.
Yeah. Okay.
Jamie Lloyd in this movie, played by Danielle Harris, was about 10 years old. And behind the scenes, Danielle has said that she had her 11th birthday on set. Back in 1994-95, there was a young little 10-year-old as well named Danny Gonzalez who was picking up his Halloweens and watching them. And around that time, not supposed to be watching it, so I'm looking for comfort because it's a scary movie.
Right.
So I'm young watching these movies and kind of looking for anything that I can attach myself to and hold dear. And one of the things was me being a 10-year-old, kind of thinking that the other 10-year-old in the movie was pretty.
Yeah.
I developed a big crush on Danielle Harris's character of Jamie Lloyd, and then it would be Danielle Harris, period. So
same here.
It's weird to navigate, Lance, because you're having to talk about having a crush on that age of a person, but
right.
When I developed it, I was that age.
And not only that, but you're saying 94, 95. This movie came out in 88.
Right.
Done in 88. So she was, at that point, she was only 10 and 11. So we're seeing her at that age. We're at that age. But also, I talked about this earlier, the saturation of Danielle Harris.
Right.
Like, she was a good and big actress, like a child actress.
Yeah.
So she's in the Roseanne TV show. She's in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. She's in a lot of things at different ages. And she's getting older. And we're seeing just the saturation of Danielle Harris. So our fandom and our little crushes are well justified.
Right.
We just wanted to
I
go
wanted
into that.
to come off that creepy if they aren't creepy already. But if they are, I can't.
Yes.
I'm not going to apologize because I know what's right.
That's right. We still crush on her a little bit.
I mean,
healthy.
But
in a
then our
healthy way.
crushes started evolving with her because do you remember her in Urban Legends?
Yes.
She had that the goth character with the black lipstick, and she was seeing Danielle Harris grow up. We're growing up with her. And I guess it's true for any sort of actors that you grow up watching. You kind of age with them, or you want to age with them. And it's like they were there in your most intimate moments in the sense of like, I went to Halloween 4 and 5 because they were safe for me to feel like I had a place. You know, I was a young horror fan. Horror movies aren't really loved and appreciated as much as, you know, your blockbuster, your actions and your dramas and whatnot, you know, but, you know, horror has its place. And at the time, I'm from the little town in South Texas. It was not that big of a deal. Like people didn't really, you know, there weren't the fandoms that you see nowadays. Yeah. And if they were behind closed doors because, we weren't as connected as we are today.
Absolutely. Yeah. I remember I was way too young to be watching these movies and be such a huge fan at that time. And then when you have no one to talk to about it, except like maybe your family who introduced you to it. But all the other kids are into Power Rangers and Pokemon maybe or something at that time. Like, I didn't connect to that. I was like, let me tell you about Michael Myers. And everyone's like, what?
Yeah.
You know, they don't see that.
It was definitely a stigma, but then you're like, but if I could see this little pretty girl and she's my age, maybe there's a place for me. It's as hokey and cheesy as it is, but it's true. It was
adolescent voice coming in right now.
Yeah, a little bit.
Talking.
No, I mean, I could see I could see my house, my room. I can. It was the sun was setting. Because I wasn't too adventurous yet. I was still pushing it. You know, I was like, okay, I can't watch it at night. I don't want to like die because I was still scared, So I would push it each time. Okay, the sun is setting. Maybe I could get away with it and still like feel like I watched it at nighttime or whatever. But Halloween 4 introduced me to Danielle Harris and introduced us to a awesome new replacement and or second version or Pepsi to your Coke of a sheriff in the form of Sheriff Meeker.
Yes, Meeker.
Meeker is introduced in the movie as being Brackett's replacement because Brackett, as said in Halloween 4, has retired.
He's retired. He's moved away. And now we've got Ben Meeker, played by Bo Starr, who was a former football player. I can tell.
And you see him, you just like...
broader shoulders and...
broader shoulders than Tom Atkinson. Yeah.
Yes.
I was gonna say Tom Wilkinson. I'm like, that's a totally different movie.
Nope.
But no, I mean, Bo Starr's like as soon as he comes around the little corral where he's introduced, I mean, there's just a sense of security that you have.
Security is the word I was trying to search for right now. Like you automatically know, like, oh, this guy. I would go behind this guy's back and cover him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I got your back, man, but I totally believe that you are going to help us through this. There's no Keystone Cops in the Halloween series until the next episode. But that was one thing I talked about from the very beginning is that the sheriffs are pretty on it. We don't get Keystone Cops in this. And Meeker is just this great sheriff that you're like, oh, I want him to be the sheriff of my town. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You actually feel the security with him. And it's so important to the movie, to the franchise, and everything else that comes along in this movie.
And what's also very important is how there isn't a relearning of the story.
Right.
Because as soon as Loomis comes in to, warn the townspeople that Michael has escaped and is returning, he goes straight to the sheriff's station. So he looks for Sheriff Brackett because that's what he should be looking for.
Yeah.
And Ben Meeker comes around and he's like, I'm Meeker. I'm the new sheriff. And Loomis is about to introduce himself, and he goes, "Oh, Sheriff, I'm Dr. Sam Loomis."
Yeah.
He knows who he is. We don't need to relearn the wheel. He's like, folks around this town are likely to forget your face.
Yep.
So,
and that confidence locks you in immediately. To the story, to everything going on, and again, the legend of Michael Myers and Loomis and all this kind of stuff.
Because up until now, Loomis is the driving force of any security. I mean, I know Brackett was, he's the sheriff and he runs the town and you feel like he's got your back. But who fired any shots ever at Michael? Loomis. Whoever got into it with Michael, like as far as Brackett is never like he never sees Michael. As a matter of fact, he never sees Michael.
No.
So now when Loomis comes in and Meeker comes around and just kind of introduces himself that way to Loomis, it's almost like, okay, Loomis is, again, he's scarred from the burns from Halloween 2. Which kind of, they fluctuate throughout the movie. They got the button prosthetic, or like it just.
You heard the story about his girlfriend, Loomis's girlfriend, Donald Pleasance?
No.
She saw some of the dailies and like, oh, Donald, you got a fried egg on your face, and that got around, and they actually changed the prosthetic. So there's only one or two where he actually has this like it's like a hard boiled egg.
Yeah. I mean, they called it in the commentary. I saw they called the button, and I know. The film, first of all, I mean, we'll gush over and over about Meeker, but like, and I'll just put a point on that, is that when he introduces himself, you're like, oh, you're the badass.
Yeah.
So we could kind of give Loomis a little bit of a pass.
He's the new sheriff in town.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly. But about the movie itself, the movie was under the gun from the beginning to get completed. The writer, I have his name. The writer who wrote Halloween 4 is Alan McElroy. He was hired to write the movie, but he only had 11 days to do it because the WGA, the Writers Guild, was about to go on strike. And when that happens, that means everything shuts down for the writers, right? So he had 11 days with him and director Dwight Little, who was a fan of the franchise. How awesome. He saw Halloween 1 when he was in film school. Like, come on. Like, yeah, if you're going to be influenced by anything while you're in film school, watch it.
So we have two excited guys coming into this, writing it and developing the actual film. Again, like the labor of love that Halloween 1 was, we're going to get that with 4.
And wanting to make sure that it was done right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you want to ask of anybody who's going to be associated with any of these franchise installments. So 11 days, literally was able to finalize the script and submit it hours before the strike went into effect. It was just like something that should have never come together, but did come together. And then they shot in Salt Lake City. It's got a better suburban vibe to it than perhaps a Pasadena, California, but it's about the same, I think.
Yeah.
They still shot it in the springtime, which again, because you want to they shot in the spring and they had it out by October of that year of 88.
Right. But the opening is an overcast day and they show all those fall colors, and the opening's so cool because it is the harvest season, which we've talked about a couple of times during the franchise talk. And it's such a slow opening, and it's like, Are we really getting back into Haddonfield in that way of like, okay, everything's at peace, but here comes Halloween yet again.
Mm-hmm.
And is Michael part of this now? I mean,
we've
had a huge gap. So
it would be really, really fucked up if they called it the Return of Michael Myers and then they didn't give him to us. Can you imagine?
I know. But right, we haven't seen Michael Myers since 81. We got it. We got Halloween 3 with no Myers in 82, I believe. So now this is 1988. And we're bringing Myers back, and the opening is just this really drawn out, slow, just
it's like it's ominous, it's
right?
like
and then it throws you right into the darkness, and that's one thing I thought about this movie is like there's a really dark tone just to start. Yeah, when we're in the asylum,
I think there's something, and we've talked about this again about these autumn themes and the end of the harvest, and things are dying in a sense, like the crops are ready to be picked, and there's barren lands, and it's that turnover that, like, in a sense, it's like the good is leaving.
Yeah.
Like when Halloween 4 opens, and they got Alan Howarth back from his collaboration with John Carpenter on Halloween 3 to do the music. When it starts, it's very just, there's like it's almost like feedback almost, but there's some like ooh, and a lot of like
open air, yeah,
and ghostly sort of the feel that you get from a traditional season change.
Yes,
right. So well done. It brings you in, but it's unlike any other Halloween movie where we got the theme right away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the credits were the theme. This credits was like just a lot of like, we're gonna ease you back, but when we get you, we're gonna get you.
Exactly. That was the thing that we kind of needed. Was like, let's get back into Haddonfield and figure this out, because it's new. It's gonna be new. It's a whole new creator and everything coming into this. So it was a great ease into that, and then boom.
Yeah, well, like the story is a new story. It's the idea that we're going to continue the family trope, because they're flirting with the idea that it's his family that he's after. So now Jamie Lee's Laurie Strode died in a car accident, right? So he should be at rest, which is why he hasn't done anything. He's been able to do something this whole time. Lying in that hospital bed, heavily bandaged and arms burned. But in that transport, in the ambulance, the EMTs or the transferers are going over his paperwork, and they're discussing it right over his body. And they let loose that he's got, any living relatives. Yeah, a niece living in Haddonfield, and you just see his hands. Just fist up.
You said it. Activated. He's activated.
He's activated. So now we're jumping deep into it. We're gonna jump deep into the family thing. Right. If there's a relative that I have to get them, either have to kill them or I have to capture them or whatever. But, so he breaks out of that ambulance in the most heinous way. Like it's a really grotesque kill that we really hadn't seen since. We hadn't seen before.
Right. Yeah. He's literally using his thumb into somebody's skull eye area,
and that was actually one of the reshoots or additions. It was like an insert. It was an insert later. They were just I don't know if they were short or they were just like trying to add some more shock value to it. Yeah.
Well, it adds. I mean, right away that sends a message like this guy is not to be messed with. He's back on his path, his mission, or whatever it is. Now that he knows that there's this niece. They conveniently dropped it on his lap, and now he knows where to go, and he's activated, and it's game over.
Yep. Yeah, it is. It is.
And of course, they're transporting him on Halloween, the eve of Halloween, I believe.
The eve, yeah.
October 30th. Convenient.
And convenient that nobody told Loomis, which is a big thing.
Yeah.
Loomis is still his doctor.
Right. And
they even mention it. They're like, Dr. Loomis should be here. And his name is Hoffman, who is the same actor who played Ivan Drago's mouthpiece. Evolution, isn't it, gentlemen? I love that guy. Doesn't have the genetics. Anyway, he plays a really good suit. These suits who are like, this is not. He hasn't moved in over 7 years. His muscles will be useless. And Loomis, the harbinger of death, essentially the all-telling prophet who has developed a limp because he's burned and scars, like I said, is now extra over the top. He was already on the edge. I think he's at even further off the edge. He's a little bit more crazy. There's a look in his eye, but the same old Loomis charm in the sense of how he delivers
exactly
his descriptions of Michael are still on point.
Yep. The calmness that he has when he goes and finds the ambulance, goes inside, walks through the water to get there. There's like nobody else that's investigating this crime scene is in the water, but Loomis goes for it. I like that direction. You kind of mentioned like there's a one take on that.
Yeah, well, there was some the director mentioned because Loomis has to wade through the water, right? So that was like there was some convincing to get him into the walk into this lake, and he was like, well, okay, well, make sure you get it on the first take because I'm going to do this over and over again.
But then he goes to the back of the ambulance with the door swung open. There's blood. And he has that calmness that Loomis kind of always has, which is he's gone. And it's just this. Well, there's not only like a struggle, but this exhaustion and
here we go again.
Here we go. Like he's gone.
It's funny because what would make a normal man or person rather curdle, having seen what was in that ambulance, because we only see the remnants. It's pretty much inferred that Loomis sees the bodies torn up, and he just has a,
yep,
he's gone. He was here, but he's gone now. It was like if anybody else had looked at that ambulance, they'd be like, ugh, because it was like it was a everything was torn up. It was because of Michael, and then of course the crash. So Loomis is again. He's like, all right, I'm out of here. Got to head to Haddonfield.
I'm off. I'll see you later.
Yeah. Nobody's believing him, which is fine. Right.
But again, he has that exhaustion, which we kind of were talking about on a personal level, away from this stuff. Like when you constantly are saying the same thing over and over again, and you never get that validation from people, and things are continuing to happen the way you said they were going to happen, you have an exhaustion where you're like, all right, well, I guess I'll just deal with all of this again.
Do it again. Go get the sheriff and try it again.
So it was a very real moment. And again, Donald Pleasance, God bless him for his delivery on all these things.
I mean, because you see him, you hear him, you know you're in a Halloween movie, and you know you're in a Michael Myers Halloween movie.
Yeah.
So you're excited already. I mean, you've seen Michael, but you haven't seen The Mask yet. Not yet. Which is a thing.
It's always a thing.
Don't let the poster confuse you, because the poster will show the Halloween 1 mask.
The 78 mask.
The 78 mask, looking very good. Full page of it, as a matter of fact. It looks fantastic. There it is. As a matter of fact, that's what was the sort of template to where my uncle was able to do that.
Oh, really?
He used that as the template. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
So, but we've seen Michael in the bandages, and you know, it's a little bit of a, we're getting started again. We almost got to get the gear one more time. So we see him go to a filling station, get the coveralls. How does he get them? They're not hanging on a rack. He has to kill somebody to get them.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You got to build those health bars again.
Yeah, exactly. I do like that. I do like that idea that he's like, I'm vulnerable right now. Let me get my coveralls. Let me get my weapon. Let me get my mask. Let's go, baby.
Power up. Yeah. That's right.
What's so good is in Halloween's before, they had waited to give us Loomis and Michael having a face-to-face towards the end of the movie. Not this time.
Very true.
This time we're early on. Loomis is on the trail, basically heading to Haddonfield, decides to stop for gas at that filling station as well. And he sees it's pretty barren. Oh, but I love how they, like, the wind's blowing, and it's like you could feel the chill of the air come through the TV. As corny as that sounds, you can, because it's almost like you there's fields around, and the fields have been, harvested, have been tilled, and the wind's blowing, and there's some dust, and there's some fog, and all that stuff. You're like, I can feel what he's feeling right now. And of course he's walking with a trench coat, so it's like, yeah, there's some chill in the air. But he walks into this filling station, and dear God, of course, finds that Michael has left mayhem in his wake, and he knows he's like, oh, Michael's been here, but he is not only been there, he's still there.
Yes.
And we have a face-to-face between Loomis and Michael early on in the movie.
Yeah. And it's iconic.
Oh,
Again, we're going to use the word at least once every probably film except in 5. And Resurrection.
Yeah.
But there's that iconic moment. You mentioned Vertigo. I mean, they meant to kind of go back and capture this great moment.
Right. It's the Vertigo shot. Yeah.
It is the Vertigo shot. Michael's is in the kitchen through a hallway door. It's just this great moment, and he's just standing there stoic.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got the bandage on. He does not have the classic Michael Myers mask. And it's something I want to talk about, because I think this movie would have had even more identity to it and been even better in my book if he had this wrap until later in the movie, because there's something really cool and mysterious about the wrap. Even like, it's Michael at this point, a little bit about Michael, having that mask or having that wrap on his face and what he's kind of been through, I think would have been really cool. The other thing is, I feel like with what had happened in Haddonfield at that point, you would not find that mask anywhere, right?
Right.
And later in the movie, we have the knockoff Michaels, which I'm jumping ahead, but who cares? Right. You have the knockoff Michaels. I would have loved to get Michael to that point, take out one of those guys and take their masks. Like they're masks that are not supposed to be had in Haddonfield.
Right.
I just would have loved to not have seen it in a store and him just grab it off the rack kind of a thing.
It's true. It's true. I mean,
it's a little thing, but
no, I mean,
man,
because
I
think obviously hindsight's 2020, and I think there are like different moments where you feel that like the grandiose of the moment can be played up a lot more. Absolutely, I totally see what you mean. Getting back to the mask itself, you'll see if you watch the movie, it doesn't look anything like the original Shatner mask. Is because that mask is gone. The original Shatner mask is after Halloween 2. I believe they said Dick Warlock, who played Michael Myers, went home with the scalpel, the mask, the coveralls, everything. He just like, because they were like, we're done. We're not going to make any more Michael Myers movies. This is it.
Yeah.
Obviously, never say never, because well, we're here in 2020 and we have one coming out next year.
Crap.
So the point is that I don't know if the mask that they went with was an inability to recreate the original, or just the fact they're like, this is what he picked up. It's as close. It's what's available. This is again, you make total sense. Why would they have the Michael Myers mask, the one that he used to kill people? Why would they have it just like in circulation? It doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? But then again, who knows? Maybe they do. So when he does grab the mask to finally put it on, it's when he has his first encounter with Jamie Lloyd, who herself is shopping for Halloween attire.
Right.
So now on to Jamie, this poor little soul of a character. My gosh! First of all, has been having night terrors, nightmares about Michael. But no, she wouldn't know what he looks like. But she has a night terror really early on of him appearing to her in the mask and scaring her, obviously. And it's just like, this is referenced by who would end up being one of the best heroines of the whole franchise, her stepsister, Rachel, played by Ellie Cornell.
Yes.
When she sees her that she's awake, she's like, you're going for the all-time record in the staying up, multiple nights in a row.
Right. So
she obviously has sleeping problems. So that alludes to the fact that she's having a tough time. And it's probably every Halloween, this kid probably goes through something, maybe because there's, something inherent, like psychologically with the family, or there's just the fact that like maybe she just feels bad that her mom is, she knows that her mom is Jamie Lee Curtis's character of Laurie, and that she just misses her. So the Jamie Lloyd is going through a lot. Not to mention that she feels a little bit of an outsider. She talks to Rachel and says, "Do you love me like a real sister?" Knowing that they're stepsisters. So like, there's a lot at play with this character already, and this is a young kid going through so much. Yeah, absolutely. She gets bullied in school, and my thing was always like, how does she see this image of Michael? How does she know what it looks like? And there's a connection scene where she goes into her closet, and as a child at the same age, terrified me. Just going into the closet, because we connect to this younger character, right? So whenever I go in a closet alone in the dark, like I was terrified, you know? So I'm watching her do it in this dream sequence. She pulls out photos of Laurie Strode, her mom, right? So then we have those. Later on, Michael comes back around, knocking around in Haddonfield, and goes into Jamie's house, goes into her room. He's looking for her,
looking for Jamie, finds the photos, which are spread out exactly like they were in the dream. And who knows what parts were dream and what parts were. I mean, the way it was filmed, but again, we get the playful Michael, in my opinion, where we get his little hand, and it's doing this little thing. His burnt, crusty hand kind of does this little twirl and goes, this one, starts poking around photos of Laurie and picks up, I think, a photo of himself in the clown.
Which is also very strange.
Yes.
Why would she have a photo of Michael in his clown costume? But she does, and he sees it. Turns it around. Must
have been from the sealed file. Halloween 2. It must have floated around there.
But it does seem odd that she would have a picture of Michael even at a young age. I don't think that's if your uncle's the boogeyman, Jamie's uncle's a boogeyman, you'd probably avoid looking at shit. Try to move on from it. By the way, that jingle is because when Lance mentioned right now that she's bullied, She's being bullied in school by these little piece of shit kids who are just like hurling the worst, most heinous insults in the hallway as if nobody could hear them, as if it's just private time. And they're just like, Jamie's mommy's a mommy. Your mommy's dead, right, Jamie? Okay, asshole. What the hell's your problem? Like, how is that even like that's like over the top bullying? So
right.
like,
but it's funny because you go back 10 years to the original Halloween, and John Carpenter put in a bullying scene with Tommy, and he even kind of says like, back then I wasn't, you know, it was kind of like a whatever thing, but nowadays it's so glamorized, and that happens all the time. All these little kids are getting bullied, so we revisit that scene, and it's heinous. These kids are awful.
They're trying to cut deep. They're like, Jamie, your uncle's the boogeyman. Your mommy's dead. How come your mommy didn't make you a costume, Jamie? Man. Jamie's an orphan. What? Right. Who are you, demon kids? Like, right. So they run her out of the school. She's crying. Poor girl. I hate that part because there is it's an innocence in Jamie's eyes, in Danielle Harris's eyes, that is so hits you hard in really in the heart. Like when she's crying, running away and she's just begging them to stop. It's just like heartbreaking because like for lack of, you know, for all intents and purposes, she's not gone through. She hasn't done anything. Right. She's just a product of her environment, of her family. Yeah, and these kids are just dicking with her, so they run her out of the school, and she's like trying to calm herself down by the tree, like doing these like self-talk count to 10 breathing exercises that a 9-10-year-old shouldn't be doing. She's like, you're okay. What the hell, I wasn't doing that.
That's so true. Like you said, like she's not even wearing a Halloween costume, so at this point she's just like this innocent little girl wearing pink overalls, blah, 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 running around because she's being bullied. And then what does she want to do when she goes home? I want a costume, you know? Like
she gets picked up by Rachel, who, you know, earlier they had a little bit of a tiff or a weird moment where Rachel wants to go on a date and they ask her to babysit Jamie, and she like that, they being her parents, who's the dad has an issue. Let's just talk about the dad real quick. Yes. The dad's getting ready. They're making breakfast in the morning, and the dad is wearing a tie, dunks the tie in the coffee, turns around to his wife, and he's like, Darlene, like it's her fault that he dunked his own tie in the fucking coffee. And he's so pissed, and she's like, okay, let me help you. I'm like, okay, abusive father. Like, but anyway, they have this conversation with Rachel asking her to babysit Jamie because their babysitter that they had planned out, again, the babysitter trope is back and alive and well, bailed because the babysitter sprained the ankle. Okay. Rachel had plans with Brady.
That's right.
She had plans with Brady. And you're going to ruin the plans of Brady? So now she's like, is it Grady? Brady? She wants to go out with Brady. And,
looks like Brady.
Damn it. She's going out with Brady. And, but now she can't. And she's like, so my future husband, my children, your grandchildren are all compromised because I have to babysit. Throwing a tiff, being a typical teen. Jamie overhears everything. Right. And Jamie gives her the saddest delivery of any line ever. Sorry, I ruined everything. If I was here, you could go out. Oh, God. So Rachel feels like shit. And now has got to play the big stepsister and says, you know what, I'm going to pick you up from school and we'll go get ice cream. And we'll go get you a Halloween costume. And Jamie's like, I don't want to. I don't want to do Halloween. I don't want to go trick-or-treating. It's stupid. I hate it. Okay, fine. We'll go get ice cream. And Jamie's like, double scoops?
Your favorite line.
It is. Went to the Halloween 30th convention, had Danielle Harris sign a limited edition Halloween 410 double scoops. One of my favorite lines.
Double scoops.
Because it's like, all right, okay, double scoops. Push it. You know, I'm already mad because I can't see Brady. Anyway, she picks her up from school, and Jamie, after being bullied by these kids, is like, I want to go trick-or-treating like the other kids now.
Yeah.
So like, what causes that change? Mm-hmm. I mean, what is it like as a kid? You want to like, oh no, I'm going to show these kids up.
It's what we were just saying. Like she feels like the outcast, right? So all the other kids are doing this, so they're bullying me for not doing it. Now I want to do it. I want to be a part of it. I want to be a normal kid because they treat me like I'm not. Yeah. You know?
No, I mean, for sure. To me though, I just would want to steer as clear away from these asshole kids. I hate them. Yeah. I hate these kids so much because nothing has changed. It's still just as bad. It's all virtual though. But anyway, so she decides she wants to get a costume, right? So, you know, they give her the ultimatum, which is so funny to me because you can't. It's like when you know, Charles or Loomis are pets. You can't say no to them with their puppy dog eyes. So. Nope. They say, or Rachel says, do you want to go to the discount mart to get your costume, or do you want to go to the Dairy Queen? And she throws it to Jamie, and Jamie's like, discount mart. Can we go get ice cream afterwards? And I was like, look, bitch, don't push your luck. But it's like, of course I'm going to help you out. So they go to get their Jamie's costume at the discount mart, and we have the interaction between Jamie and Michael because he happens to be costume shopping as well, looking for his mask.
That's very true.
It is.
There's his mask.
Yeah.
He's costume shopping.
Yeah.
It's the only reason they bump into each other, right?
I know. Michael's like, oh my God, you're here? It's so weird. I'm just getting a mask for tonight.
I'll see you later, right?
I'll see you later. But I don't know if it's in her DNA or if she got the message from, you know, the other beyond or the connection she has with Michael. But what costume does she pick out?
It's clown costume.
Clown costume.
Just and like H1.
When she puts it up against herself and looks in the mirror, she sees an image of Michael as the clown with the bloody knife.
Yeah.
So why would she see that?
Why would she still pick that costume?
It's in her DNA. It's inherent. Some things are the way they are.
Yeah.
Maybe she caught the murder gene. Anyway.
Murder genes.
We meet a couple of auxiliary characters. Those are fun.
Yeah.
Ish.
Apparently Tommy's a part of this. Tommy Doyle from the first one. If you look at the Halloween canon, he has no lines, I believe.
Right.
Puts out
I think he says, watch out, Wade, that's Sheriff Meeker's daughter.
That's right.
I think that's what he says.
Wade goes after Sheriff Meeker's daughter, who is you're a big fan of.
Yeah, Kathleen Kinmont. Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Yeah. Look, you know, you also got to realize if I'm 10, 11 years old, I'm a preteen, you know, some kids develop earlier than others. So, like, what am I talking about? But Kathleen Kinmont is the homewrecker character. You know, she works with Brady, who works at Vincent Drug, which Rachel was trying to avoid. But now Rachel gets to tell Brady, "Hey, can't hang out with you tonight. Got to babysit Jamie." So we have a bit of an issue here where Brady's like, "All right, you want to blow me off? You blow me off." Brady's an asshole. Yeah, he totally like screws Rachel over and decides to hop onto the next best thing, which is Kathleen Kinmont's character. What's her name in the movie?
I don't remember.
Cops do it by the book. Obviously Meeker. She's Sheriff Meeker's daughter, which the story of having the sheriff's daughter be a central character continues. Annie Brackett now. Daughter Meeker.
Daughter Meeker.
But I know her real name. I'm blanking.
Get brownie points for that. It's Kelly Meeker.
Kelly Meeker. So that seed has been planted, and Jamie gets startled by Michael, breaks the glass, but is he there? Is he not there? Anyway, she gets her Halloween costume, and the movie continues. I mean, I love the subtlety of the, I guess, I don't know if it's subtlety, but it's like a slow metamorphosis of Jamie. And now that I'm looking at it, she was slowly going down this path, seeing these images of Michael, dreaming Michael, having a picture of Michael, seeing him when she like is just looking at seeing him as a kid, buying the clown costume. All that makes sense.
Yeah,
you know,
I guess you got to play on the connection. I mean, she has visual images of this guy, and I mean, there's even like the way it's filmed, you almost think Was it just a vision? I mean, was he really in there? But he grabs the mask, so it makes sense in the reality.
I think adult Michael was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense. But again, the way it's filmed, the first two visions or the first two meetings that she has with Michael, it's almost filmed like a dream sequence where you're not quite sure. She recovers pretty goddamn fast.
Yeah.
From seeing a tall dude that she saw in her dreams and then shattering a bunch of glass in a store. And then she still picks the damn costume up.
Yeah. I mean, and when they said, Jamie, what happened? She just says, it was the nightmare, man. So it's like she recognized it from her nightmares. But they're just like, oh, you probably saw a scary mask and you got startled. Right. So, they just brush it off. So we see the inner workings now of the Meeker Loomis, partnership. Mm-hmm. But I think we should take a quick little poll here, Lance. Here we go. Are you team, don't say the answer, team Meeker or team Brackett, right? Okay, either Sheriff Brackett from Halloween 1 and 2 or Sheriff Dan Meeker from Halloween 4 or 5.
Like if we're picking our survival squad, who am I picking first?
What team are you on?
Meeker, 100%.
Meeker.
Meeks.
I guess I'd go with Meeker as well. It's just you know, Brackett's Brackett. He's the OG.
He's the OG, but what has he done?
Well, he didn't get a chance to. He may have been a crack shot.
Yeah, but we'll never know.
And we'll never know. We might know.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
No.
Spoiler.
No.
Anyway,
Meeker's a badass. He's my first pick on any team.
Yeah, Bo Starr is just a legitimate badass. That's when the guy that's playing Sheriff Meeker's name is Bo Starr.
Yeah,
You want to mess around or not? Also talk about the theme. The theme in Halloween. Now this is completely Alan Howarth, right? Yes. It's completely his. He's incorporated a lot of more ghostly oohs and ha's and desolate tones and whatnot. He did The Thing with John Carpenter, did Escape, did Halloween 3. But what I love, and I wrote in my notes, this Halloween 4 theme kicks ass. Yeah. It gets up and goes. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's got a bass beat to it, so it's like din 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 din, and it works so well because it almost feels like you're ready. For me, I get pumped up. I'll run through a wall when I hear that theme. Yeah. But it's like almost like not only is Michael around and or coming for you, but when he gets you, it's going to be bad, because almost like the original theme was just piano, It was like, the boogeyman, the boogeyman is here. Whereas this one is like the fucking boogeyman is here.
Right.
Know?
And another thing about this movie is it's a little more large scale. He goes and takes out the phone lines with Loomis's interaction.
Yeah.
Which almost seems like an accident, but like the perfect accident kind of a thing.
He shuts down the power.
Yeah. He shuts down the power with Bucky. Like it becomes a large scale thing. The power is out of Haddonfield. He sets the stage for himself. It's like he's learned. He's progressed in the last 10 years of like, okay, this is what worked last time. I'm cutting the power of the whole fucking town this time. Yeah. No phones. Fuck y'all. Everything is on my terms this time around.
This is a more cerebral Michael. Yeah. It's a more vicious Michael for sure.
Right. And what's the first thing that he does on like his war path once night kind of starts to fall? Takes out the sheriff's station.
Yes. He completely decimates the police force. The sheriff. He takes them all out. There's a station full with Meeker with like, I don't know, 6 or 7 deputies ready to go. He decimates the entire station. Right. All you see is the aftermath. And I love that it's shot that way. That like you don't see what he did. You just see what he left in his wake.
Right. But because if you can't really wrap your head around Michael like showing up at the sheriff's station like, well, I'm going to kill all these guys.
You know what I mean? Oh my God. It's almost like, like a Batman Arkham City sort of situation.
It's exactly how I see it. I'm like, is he an assassin? What is this? And then later on there's a higher force for Michael, and it kind of, for me, I was like, maybe he had some help on that one. I don't know. If you like the higher power and the extra people helping Michael out idea, maybe
he's capable of taking down multiple people. I mean, to jump ahead, but he takes down an armed pickup truck full of armored, full of hillbillies. He takes them all out. So he might have been strategic about this. Yeah. If this was 5, I'd say that everyone helped him. But
What?
I would, if this was 5, I'd say yeah, he got help from people because
I think you said everyone humped him.
everyone humped him as well.
Okay.
That's why he killed him, because they started humping him. They didn't know how to fix it. This is dumb.
But anyway, back on point. It's a big scale Michael Myers haunt this year. He's taking out the power. He's taking out the phone lines. He's taking out the sheriff's department. And now there's no one else to call for help once the town catches on, like, hey, something's not right here.
Right.
Who are you going to call?
Ghosts?
Not the Ghostbusters.
No, just ghosts.
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 Please help us.
No, what is awesome as well is that the whole city listens to Loomis in the sense that, like, Meeker makes sure that stuff gets done. So when the power goes out, you see parents picking up their kids. They're like, here we go again. We're not going to do this shit. If it's Halloween and it's Haddonfield, shit's going down. So the news station comes on and says, get your kids, lock your, get behind locked doors, board up your windows, all that shit. And of course, much to the dismay of the local watering hole with Earl was introduced as a character, his name just Big Earl, and his band of misfits is just these liquored up rednecks with shotguns. And Earl, when he runs a bar and all his his friends are there, and he sees that the news has said that you got to shut it down, he's like, I ain't shutting down with a good goddamn reason.
That's right.
So he calls the sheriff's office, and there's no answer because Michael's decimated it. Right? He has. Right. I mean, the phone lines aren't out yet, but Earl just. I love this part because Earl is a man of action. You understand? He's just going to get shit done. It's what these rednecks do, right? It's how we are. He just calls sheriff station, no answer, it just rings, hangs it up, doesn't say a word, goes and grabs the Miller Lite, takes a swig, puts on his hat. Well, come on, and it's time to go. And they just go, and they're gonna go and find out what's going on. So you have this other variable, these liquored up, gung ho, band of country guys who are gonna who are trying to figure out what's going on. So they're
what's
on
funny
the loose
about Earl to me is he won't shut down his business, but he's the only bartender that we know of, and he just leaves. Well, the bar is full, which is great.
Yeah, he's killing it.
Yeah,
the bar is hopping. Let's go. I want to be at Earl's bar.
It's like a Roadhouse bar, but
there's some appeal to it. You got the Spud McKenzie, you got it all going on.
So during this point, when I think the driving is when the power goes out, we come across Bucky.
Right. Oh, rest in peace. But see, the thing about Bucky, and for those hardcore horror fans, you know who I'm talking about. Bucky is this. He got like a cult following by like fans who were just like, there was like Twitter handles and like groups. It was like Bucky's Power Station. Bucky is this guy who works at the power grid, and he's got his hard hat on, and we know his name is Bucky because it says Bucky on his hard hat. Shout out to my nephew Bucky, by the way.
Hey, Bucky.
And Michael is ready to turn the lights out on the whole town. So instead of just the traditional way of ripping out stuff, he decides, well, why don't I just grab Bucky by his waist here and toss him into the grid? So he shuts down and destroys the entire grid by unfortunately throwing a very beloved civil servant in Bucky. Beloved. Yeah, very beloved in just doing his job, who tried to stop Michael. No, you're dead, son. So
and then from this point on, to me, it feels like Michael's kind of everywhere. He has a presence throughout the town, and he is stalking almost everyone. And it's just that feeling. And then we get these knockoff Michaels who are playing a prank on the sheriff in the worst possible time.
Well, which is so interesting about that moment. What happens is that there's Loomis and Michael are ready. They have found Rachel and they found Jamie, which, by the way, right before that, because Jamie and Rachel are trick-or-treating, and Rachel sees Brady with Kelly, so they have an argument, but Jamie continues to trick-or-treat with her new friends who are like, ooh, nice costume, and it's these asshole kids who are bullying her.
Yeah, fuck those kids.
Yeah, but they're like, oh, now you're part of the group. So Rachel and Jamie get separated. It is so well done when Rachel is looking for Jamie. Oh, it is unbearably creepy.
Yeah,
because it is shot no music. It is just her footsteps, the wind. Same for Jamie when they cut back and forth because they're separated. Everyone else gets picked up by their parents, except now Rachel cannot find Jamie, and she's panicking because she sees the shape.
Yeah.
She sees him and she's running all over the place. So then what happens is Loomis and Meeker find Rachel and Jamie, put him in the car ready to take him to safety. But here pop up. And when I'm first watching this, 4 Michaels.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? It was so scary. And it was also so like, you'd never seen anyone else. You had never seen more than one Michael. Nobody would ever don the mask. It's like sacrilege. So it's like, it was so, so when you see it, it's like, am I living in a freaking fantasy or a nightmare essentially? Look at all these Michaels. So it's these dickheads who are just planning a prank, keeping with the tradition of Halloween pranks. They're playing a prank on the sheriff.
Right. And I like that moment. I thought that would have been a great extra kill for Michael to grab the mask. Again, you're playing the prank at the wrong moment. Yep. There's just been chaos beginning. And you're right about that scene, because that's when everyone starts to leave the streets, and that's when it starts to feel like Michael's presence is everywhere. And then literally everywhere is Michael. They are surrounded by Michaels. And it's just a terrible prank.
Yep.
They drive off, and the real Michael is right behind them on the trail.
Right in the middle of the street. Peripheral vision, side view, rear view mirrors don't exist.
Yeah.
But again, if they see that, they'll be like, okay, it's another asshole kid. But it's a good shot.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Michael, though, for a minute. George P. Wilbur playing him. Aside from the mask.
His shape.
It's a shape.
It is a shape. It looks like he's wearing pads the whole time.
Would you say that he's wearing
hockey pads?
He is. George Wilbur, I guess, wasn't stature-wise what they wanted, so they gave him some. I think he had lifts, and as well as the pads.
Yeah, and it looks so unnatural to me. It looks like a dummy. Which later on, there's a big shot of a dummy getting hit by a car, and
right.
That's kind of just how he looked the whole movie, though.
Yeah,
The
mask itself also incorporated. This was probably the first time. Yes, it was the first time they incorporated black screens behind the eyes.
Oh, okay.
Because 1 and 2 it was just shot well. That like they didn't have to cover anything. They may have blacked out the eyes with paint, but I don't even know if they did that. But this one had screens in front of the eyes so that you could never see.
But you never really notice in this film. In other films you can. 5. And you actually see his eyes blacked out in 5. I'm not sure about 4. 4 he never takes off his mask, but I like this mask.
I think I think it has, there's a charm to it. It's very smooth.
Yeah.
The hair is slicked back almost. It's like, I would always say it's like the Perry Como mask, it's just like chill.
It needs some cheekbones or some sort of definition to put a little more human into it, but I like it for the most part. You had to recreate it. You had to make a new one, so sure, this is fine. His body just kind of weirds me out with the padding and stuff. It just doesn't look. The human element's gone.
Yeah, he's very statuesque. He's very rigid and just he doesn't have that Nick Castle. We are so far removed from Nick Castle. It feels like eons ago we were talking about this.
Yeah.
But we're at this point where, again, it's another stuntman, George Wilbur, who would end up being the only man to play Michael twice. Plays him in part 6 as well. But it just there's some things that work for it. Mm-hmm. But there's like any sort of stock chase is not going to work just because he walks too straight like a board, essentially. Right. So I don't mind it. I still don't think it's the best Michael by far, but it's not the worst.
It's not the worst, not the best. I enjoy him. He's middle ground.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So now we're gonna do this. We're gonna hunker down at the sheriff's house, which is primarily where the second act ends and the third act begins. Yeah. Is at the sheriff's house where Brady and Kelly have been canoodling. Some very gratuitous, not very gratuitous, just very much hinted at nudity. Yeah. Not a lot shown. Kathleen Kinmont, Kelly Meeker's wearing probably one of the most recognizable shirts of the Halloween franchise. She's wearing a long shirt that says "Cops do it by the book," because her dad's the sheriff.
Yeah.
And they're messing around when Meeker gets there. And also awkward, Meeker brings Rachel.
Yeah.
So like Rachel has to come in and see Brady and see Kelly and know that they were messing around.
I feel like that's such a lesson for young men out there. If you're watching this film, you're gonna get caught.
You're gonna get caught. Don't mess around,
it's
guys.
Gonna happen. Don't do it.
Either, just don't be Wade. Just be Wade.
Be Wade.
Be Wade. Shoot your shot. Get turned down.
Shoot your shot,
and live.
Live to tell another.
What's so scary about that is because like you think that they're going to be okay because they're going to hunker down, and what better way than obviously from this badass sheriff's house who's got like CB radios, kerosene lamps, he's got guns, he's got action.
The only thing he doesn't have is a generator, but that's coming next week.
Yeah. That's so true. But what happens? There is one Deputy Logan, that's still that isn't one of the killed ones, and gets him on the radio. They had left at Jamie's house to wait for the parents, and they say, "Hey, come on over here. We're gonna hunker down." Okay, Logan takes off, but who is chilling in the back of Logan's car?
Yeah,
is the Shape being again more cerebral, more methodical, and that is a wonderful move. Yeah, take me to them.
Yeah.
So Deputy Logan drives Michael right to where everyone's hunkering down. So you see them lock it up. It's like got a bit of a Night of the Living Dead feel, right?
Yeah.
It's got that whole okay, we're gonna lock it. We're gonna padlock the door. This is the only way in and out of here. Like you feel it from Meeker.
Right.
You're like, we're safe, except for the fact that Michael's already in the house.
That's right.
Isn't that terrifying?
It is. And again, I go back because this is like the second playful moment of Michael in my head is like him chilling in the backseat, like he's just like laughing back there. You see his hand on his knees. His knees are bent. He's just laying in the back seat like this fucking
Peripheral
idiot. Here
vision,
we go.
Side view, rear view mirrors, they don't exist in this world. Because as soon as you turn around to look back as you're backing out of the driveway, there's a motherfucker in my back seat. But he doesn't. Michael just gets there.
Oh my god.
So
what a cool concept too is you're locked in the house. There's no way out because we get to that point. Brady tries to get out. He's like, we're locked in this fucking house. Steel doors.
It's a fortress, and whatever is the worst thing about being locked behind the fortress is being locked behind the fortress with the thing you're trying to keep out of the fortress. Exactly. So the evil's in there with them, and in Michael fashion slowly starts picking people apart. What's so it's a screaming at the screen, at the TV screen, or at the movie theater screen, the silver screen moment. Loomis is like, all right, are we all good here? All right, cool, I'm going to leave. And they're like, why? We need your help. He's like, no, Michael's out there and I have to find him, or whatever he says, right? And then one of the scariest lines, I think, and it's in the trailer, is Loomis delivering this line. And Deputy Logan says, let the state troopers, because they're on their way, let them handle Michael. They won't know how to stop him. And then he says, do you know how to stop him? Maybe nobody knows how to stop him. Yeah. That's terrifying. He's like, yeah, maybe nobody does, but I have to try. So bye, Loomis. One of our defenders is gone. And you know what's going to happen. Michael starts picking everybody apart. Yep. Meeker has to leave as well. So your two top defenders have to leave. Meeker's got to go deal with the rednecks because they shot an innocent boy. They shot Ted Hollister because they thought it was Michael. They shot him dead. So there's a lot of elements going on, and slowly but surely your impenetrable fortress and your protectors are now compromised.
Yeah. And again, on Meeker's side, he has this fortress that he left behind. We're good. Everyone's safe.
Yeah.
Leaving Brady with a shotgun. Don't you rope my daughter. Everything's good. Meeker's smart. He's like, I got to go take care of the town still because there's shit going on. I'm the sheriff. I need to protect not only my house, which I have. Now I need to go after the town. So there's a reason that these guys are leaving. There's a reason for it, which in a lot of slasher films, there's never a reason.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to go skinny dipping. It's the dumbest reason for everyone to leave, but there's always a decent reason in these films for our protector to leave us.
I mean, sure. You're almost you forgive what's happening. You forgive it because yes, it is rooted in some sort of okay, I could see that happening. There's a slight homage to the Michael mask being, dimmed behind Laurie. It's not perfect. It's not done particularly well, but it is.
It's there. Yeah,
it's there. He's in the darkness, and he kind of peeks, and then he kind of goes away. But yeah, it takes us to the end of what we see is gonna be. I mean, like to the end of Logan dead, Kelly dead. Brady the worst defender, can't get his shotgun right, dead. He gets dead. Like he gets his skull crushed, which no effects. They just added effects. I mean, they just added the sound and
just the lighting hitting the thumb in his cheek, basically, and then crack.
So now we have Rachel coming into her own, and which is I think the best part of the movie is her straight up defending Jamie from Michael.
Yeah,
and Rachel's a badass. Like she really puts it on the line, trying to defend her stepsister, and Michael's after them. There's an awkward part on the I say awkward because Michael looks awkward on the roof.
Yeah.
They're trying to get away from him.
Yeah.
There's some cool stunts being shot, but eventually they both Jamie and Rachel get off the roof, leaving Michael up there. And I think it's our first real hokey Michael transporting in no time moment.
Especially how much he struggled to climb up the roof.
Exactly, because you got George Wilbur doing his own stunts because he is a stuntman. He's also playing Michael, but he's like with knife in hand, and he's just like trying to claw on top of the roof and just walking kind of weird in his Herman Munster shoes. It just it was a bit clunky. And even then, it's like this is something that if it was maybe the Nick Castle Michael. And even the Dick Warlock Michael, he probably would have got them,
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, they're able to get loose, and Rachel's presumed dead. Michael now starts to, you feel terrible because now he's only chasing Jamie, and
and I love this scene because Jamie is still in her little clown costume, and there's the way she runs is like she goes to Rachel. We think Rachel's dead. She fell off the damn roof. It was like a 3-story house.
Yeah, about
maybe
2 or 3 stories.
And so now all of her protectors are gone, and we see Jamie running in this clown costume down like the deserted streets of Haddonfield.
Yes.
There's nobody out there to help this little girl, and the boogeyman is chasing her, and it's just this great scene, just the way it was filmed. Like you mentioned before, like you can kind of feel the coldness of the air. You can feel, and this little girl is in a costume. Those costumes don't, protect you from the cold weather or anything like that.
The worst.
So it's this great little shot of just her running in terror with nobody to help her anymore.
And you're like, there's no way that this girl stands any chance. I hope her protector comes, and one does in Dr. Loomis.
Yeah,
he
of course.
Gets a jump scare out of us, of course, because that's have you noticed he appears a lot like that?
Yeah, he does.
He tries to get us as much as Michael does, the motherfucker.
Especially with little Jamie.
Yeah, he's like, oh, where's the schoolhouse?
Yeah.
So they look for solace in the schoolhouse. It's where we see one of the biggest gaffes in Halloween history, where, for lack of a better excuse, and actually this is the excuse that the filmmakers got, we see a blonde-haired Michael Myers attack Loomis
pink face,
throw him through a window, and it's like, you're thinking, okay, this must be his twin, because there's no way that that happened. There's no way.
I could have sworn it was the resurrection of Ben Tramer.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. It did look like Ben Tramer. Whoa, there's something there. So, but Jamie, helpless, is now down to just herself again, and Michael is his first time he lays hands on her. He grabs her by the ankle. Again, our protector comes in the form of Rachel, is able to fire extinguish Michael to death, or essentially, fire extinguisher and get him off of her. And now Rachel is going to save Jamie and run straight into the welcoming arms of Earl and his band of rednecks.
Wow, those are our heroes. Earl is a hero.
Earl is a hero. So they're there at the school, and it's so funny because as much bravado and like awesomeness that these rednecks have, they're like, where's Myers? He's in the school. No, don't go in there. He'll kill you too, Jamie says. And then they're like, and I think Rachel says, just let's, the state troopers are coming. Let them handle it. And they're the friends of Earl. They're like, I don't know, Earl, that sounds damn good to me.
And Earl goes along with it.
I'd be scared shitless too. I'm like, I'm not going to fuck with Michael. I'm out of here, man. Yeah. So they all decide to get up on the truck and head to the checkpoint out of Haddonfield, where they look to be safe. Earl and gets on the CB, tells everybody, I got Rachel, I got Jamie. All is clear. On to say.
Then
they didn't check under the truck.
Classic Cape Fear.
Classic. You got to check under the truck. So nobody assumes that what's about to happen is happening, but Michael is under the truck, climbs onto the back of the pickup where he kills 4 armed rednecks, stabs them, throws them off.
What's the great setup about this is that the state troopers go by. Michael must have seen like, oh, great. State troopers are gone. But the last state trooper stops and says, 4 more miles up the road. So we know there's a 4-mile stretch of deserted road. Michael goes, thanks again, guys.
Yeah, you gave me everything I need.
Great.
I'm already a smart dude at this point. I'm a smart Michael in this movie. I don't need extra, but thanks anyway.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for the information. Now I'll attack everyone.
And it's like slow motion. He's like stabbing people, like stabbing them on the side, throwing them off. I'm like, there's a choreography, there's a fight going on here.
Yep.
And it was done well in the sense of like, okay, I'm seeing Michael do his thing with his favorite toy, which is the knife. Kills all the rednecks, and like the thumb to the guy's forehead in the beginning, we see the second most grotesque kill in this movie, added as an insert for shock value. Michael on top reaches for Earl, rips his neck completely off of his head with his bare hands. So now Rachel is being thrust back into the role she thought she was done with the knife, but it's to save and protect Jamie. Driving the truck around with Michael on top, does the bit of a swag, brakes, he flies off, not before planting his head on the windshield to like break it and be like, hello. But that leads to the final confrontation with Michael and his demise, so to speak. Rachel hitting him with the truck. He flies 40 feet up in the air and
in
falls.
The most straight angle that he could be. He looks like an Olympic diver.
Oh yeah, it's like Greg Louganis. He nailed it. So everyone catches up with Rachel, like the Meeker and the other troopers, and everyone's checking that they're all right. Rachel runs to them, but wait, what did we forget? We forgot to bring somebody. Oh right, Jamie. Let's go get Jamie. What's Jamie doing?
She's touching Michael's hand.
Because that connection that we were hinting at is there all along. She's curious. She's trying to do the right thing. That's her uncle. She goes and holds his hand. And in that hold of a hand, we are to believe that there is a transference.
Yeah, okay.
Or something. A passing of the Michaelness to her.
Evil. The evil is handed off.
The evil is handed off. But Michael stands up because he's not dead, of course. And this is why Ben Meeker gets the nod over Brackett. Meeker with the most awesome assault tactical shotgun, automatic, and a bunch of state troopers and the few rednecks that aren't dead decide to unload on Michael. Everyone shoots him up like nobody's business, to where they shoot him so much he's dodging left, he's dodging right, and his final shot makes him go like this. And he falls into the mine shaft all the way down, and it's where he and all the things fall on top of him. Michael Myers is dead. There's no way he survived this. So everyone's caught their breath. Back to Jamie's house. The parents are there. The light has been restored.
Yes.
Loomis is alive. I
have to mention one thing
about
Jamie's house. If you ever notice the creepy ass face at the front door.
Oh yeah.
And how perfectly lit it is to look even creepier.
Yeah.
I notice it every time. I'm like, I just focus on it.
It's like a devil mask or something, right?
It's an all-white mask.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a clown or a devil or something, but they have like a bowl of candy right underneath it. But the fact that this little tiny mask, like it would not fit on our faces.
No.
At the door at such a low point, and it's lit.
It's almost like porcelain, right?
Yeah, but it's always got me like this weird evil face.
It is weird. It is weirdly placed. And even then in the documentary, they're like, what's up with that mask? He's like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. They asked him. He was like, I don't know. I'm talking about the director. mention and just to cap it, you think everything is all in well. Jamie and Rachel have survived. Loomis is alive. Meeker is the triumphant hero. So Jamie's stepmom decides she'll run her a bath because she's full of blood and grime and disgust. So runs her a bath, but we don't see Jamie anymore, but we see Jamie's point of view.
Yes.
And it is an homage to Halloween 1978,
Yes.
the opening with the point of view of getting the knife, or in this case, getting the scissors. What's going on? We don't know who this is. Maybe it's Michael. Is he in the house? The mask goes over the lens again.
Yes.
Oh, this is definitely maybe Michael, and happens on Jamie's stepmom. Starts getting stabbed with the scissors. There's blood curdling scream. Loomis rushes to see what's going on, and what does he see? A bloody Jamie Lloyd with scissors in hand, full clown costume with the mask, the darkest, most blank face that Danielle Harris has done.
Yeah.
Is so creepy.
For a little girl to like reach in that deep and have that look on her face at the end of that movie is what sells it. And she sells so much of this movie. I mean, she
was phenomenal. Best. I mean, what a wonderful actor beyond her years. Just have to mention that Loomis is like, we got rid of Michael. He sees Jamie do exactly what Michael did, and he starts screaming, "No, no!" over again. Draws his gun, gonna shoot her.
Yeah. Now's the time. We're not doing this over again. No.
Gotta get to it soon. Meeker stops him, but everyone from Meeker to the stepdad to Rachel to Loomis, they're all just looking in horror at what we see as the final shot. Jamie has now been Michael Myers.
Yes. We passed the torch. What a great way to get away from Michael Myers. And have a whole new series if we want, or
you could end it right there.
You could end it right there.
Your mind could play your mind will be left to fill in the blanks. Does she turn into, a serial killer as well, or does she? Is it just like a whatever? But as we know, there is a continuance, and they decide to go. You could go so many ways, and yet they found the worst way to go.
Unfortunately, in every aspect, they went the worst direction you could have gone with it. And it's too bad because the filmmakers on this were asked to come back for 4 or for 5. And they thought, you know what? We're done. Just like they learned their lesson from John Carpenter and said, this is our piece. This is our art piece. Let's leave it as it is. We've kind of set up where this can go. Let it be.
Yeah, and Dwight Little, the director, has said that Mustafa Akkad asked him every year
to come
back. Because look, Halloween 4 is a good movie. It's got its flaws. It's an okay, decent, as far as being the 4th in a franchise movie.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
Absolutely.
Personally, and I mean, I think that there are some things about Michael I change and would want different. There are some things about maybe some of the the auxiliary characters. Maybe some of them aren't needed, just because like Michael Myers Halloween movies are not body count movies. They just are not.
Right.
That's Jason. That's anything else. That's not Halloween. He doesn't need a high body count.
Right.
But you got to roll with the times. Slashers in the late 80s and early 90s, it's all about high body count. So
that's very true.
And shock value. So, that had its place in there as well. But I love this movie. And it, gave me my first real celebrity crush.
Yeah, same here. We're both on that same page, which is kind of bizarre, but we're the weird kids
We're the weird kids, man.
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
Me too.
What's your rating?
I'm